Welcome into the Super Awesome Podcast.
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
am
whoa.
none of that. None of that.
That's your
No.
signature. Your signature is the whoa, 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 whoa.
No, because it gets suppressed and sounds stupid.
Mhm.
I'm Dogclaration of Independence, and I'm joined with Emancipation Captaination
Yeah, what's happening?
and the Mat of Rights.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellers?
Nothing. I
All
turned
right.
30. That's all the fuck that happened. That's all it is. Fuck
It's
that.
that week-long period where all three of us have a birthday.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Me, then Declaration, and then you, right?
Yep, the Mat of Rights. When Bill of Rights doesn't do it, Mat of Rights will step right in.
I'm just a bill. I'm gonna stop right there. We get caught.
What did you guys do for your birthdays?
Didn't do shit. I fucking hate my birthday. It's lame. I got bad luck on my
Well, you got
birthday.
the big 3-0.
Yeah, fuck that. Oh, I'm excited.
No, it's nothing to be excited about. You got me
It
there.
really isn't.
Yeah.
Today, it's my birthday is today on the day of recording, and I turned 31, and it feels the same as turning 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's about it.
I turned.
Well, you went to
31
the goddamn
yesterday.
place of this movie, or a lot of the places.
Confirmed. We were not. We talked about it. We were not in the same hospital, right? I don't believe.
No, we were not.
Okay.
Was the same father though?
Wait. Wait.
It makes
But,
sense
yeah.
why we're so much more powerful than you.
Oh,
guys.
shut the fuck up! Let's not even do this bullshit.
All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about a movie that is a movie. Talking about National Treasure.
Sure is.
In a world where a bunch of slave-owning white men from the 1700s create a very complex treasure map to a treasure no one uses. One man's search for hidden treasure will uncover centuries of deceit. Meet Benjamin Gates, a man obsessed to break his family's curse, and Ian, a greedy crime boss with no backstory. They keep finding clues to the treasure, but you guessed it, they need to steal the Declaration of Independence. Thanks to an invisible map on the back, they discover yet again more clues. With the FBI and rival treasure hunters hot on their heels, will they be able to find and save the national treasure?
Oh shit!
By God. All right. National Treasure released. Oh, what? Were you going to say something?
So this movie, starring the man I was named after, Nicolas Cage.
We did slap your face. We like messed your face with
That was so.
Nicolas Cage for a YouTube video.
Yeah, my face on
Stupid.
Nicolas Cage's body. I'm Nicolas Cage, by the way. For anybody out there?
All right. So, movie was released November 19th, 2004. I'm gonna butcher a lot of names, but it wouldn't be the Super Awesome Podcast if I didn't. It was directed by John Turtletub. Written by Jim Koff and the Wibberleys. Produced by Walt Disney Pictures. Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. Starring Nicolas Cage, Diane Kruger, Harvey Keitel, Justin Bartha, the Hangover guy, who's on the roof. Spoilers for that movie. And Sean Bean. The budget was $100 million and it made $347.5 million. What?
John Voight.
Sure, he was in it too.
Yeah. Well, he's
There's a
bigger
lot of
name.
names on there,
He's a
so I
big
just
name.
stuck with the main guys.
Fuck.
I'm bad at my job. What do you want? You guys
All
got
right. Anyway,
yeah. Y'all got any interesting or fun facts?
did make a lot of movie. This movie made a lot of movie at the box office.
It sure did.
340 something, 47.
Yeah.
On $100 million budget.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any big facts. I really couldn't find much. But I did have that. This is one of the few projects where Sean Bean does not die in, which is nice to see.
I did write that, but he is a fun bad guy.
Yeah.
All the fun facts I saw is more just about like how they were actually allowed to film at all these real locations, shit like that.
Yep, I had that. Most scenes were filmed on location. So, yeah.
So the government was like, cool, like, oh yeah, you can shoot a movie and shit.
Except
So
for
that's cool.
Independence Hall. That was a replica.
Yeah, and some dude's farm, right?
Yeah.
I did not see that, but sure.
I saw the like the Antarctica shots or whatever. Those were
Yeah.
actually in like fucking Utah or
Yep.
something.
So,
I had that as well.
fun fact, but like I guess a more personal fact. I just went to DC, just got back. Was there
With
for
with the Declaration of Independence in the back.
I was there for 4 days. We went to the National Archives, and I asked the dude that was like managing that room, called the Rotunda, by the way. Uh, minor side fun fact: when I went there 20 years ago, that room was really well lit, but this time around, it was super dim inside of there, which makes sense because it affects the paper. But I asked the dude if they filmed the scene in that room, and they did not film the scene in the room.
So
That
you've already
they,
been to DC before?
yeah, 20 years ago or so.
Same. About 20 years ago.
Y'all
Actually,
both been to DC?
mine was more like 24 years ago.
Your parents are just like, come on, kids. I'm gonna show you by the Washington Monument.
Mine was a school trip.
You had a
I think I
school trip
saw-
to DC?
Yeah.
What the
I
fuck kind of
had,
school you go to?
And while I was in DC, I decided that I needed to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Or YouTube
Well, there you
audience.
go.
There it is.
It ain't a trip unless you steal the goddamn Declaration.
Look, if you don't, somebody will. All right.
Yeah, Boromir will. He's gonna shoot at you and stuff.
Yeah, he'll shoot the. How do they know that thing was bulletproof?
I don't. Dumb luck, I guess.
So I had that the actual Declaration of Independence, like the ink, was already like mostly worn off by 1876 due to light exposure.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
looked up pictures of the actual one, and it's like barely legible.
Why wouldn't
It
you
is.
think you'd
You
have
can
somebody?
you can still make out John Hancock's signature pretty well.
That's cool.
I mean, you can see it.
Yeah,
But,
because he was being a douchebag. He's like, I want everybody to see my name. So he writes his name all big. I just want to know the guys, like the what do you call them? Calligraphers? People that's their whole job is just to write really pretty. You know what I mean? That'd be a high pressure fucking job. All right, we got this big ass piece of paper. Ain't no lines on it. You're just gonna have to dip your feather into some ink or whatever and write this whole thing. And you better not make a fucking grammatical error or you know what I mean? Forget to dot an I or cross an
God,
L.
I would not have made it in those times. I'd be
Well, yeah, you're
smearing,
left-handed. You'd
smearing
smear the whole
everything that I'm
fucking-
writing.
The Declaration would be all fucked up. I just can't write legibly. That'd be the problem.
you can say that again.
And then America would just wouldn't exist.
Is that how that would work?
Just
all because you can't write.
I feel like I'm sorry, John Hamilton or whoever fucking wrote the shit. Can't write good.
So I only had a couple more. The movie made 11 million on opening day, which beat out the SpongeBob movie. And then
Nice.
what?
I said nice.
It got the green light for a sequel, which was released in 2007. And then I was reading that they were going to try to make a third one, and I was reading there's a lot of rewrites going on, and then they ultimately just turned it into a show. And I saw
I saw
a
that.
quote from Nicolas Cage saying, like, he paraphrasing, basically like he doesn't think a third one will be made, or he's not going to be in the show. Or
Yeah,
anything like that.
I was gonna say he said he wasn't going to be involved.
Yeah.
I saw that there was a show on there, and I was like, it's got like 11 episodes. I'm like, who approved that? I'm surprised they made a second movie because what is it about? I've never seen it.
So
Like,
apparently it did better in box office, if I remember correctly. But
Hmm.
I've known about it, but I've never seen it. Nobody ever talks about it.
It's got to be stupid. Like, what are they? What
It's
treasure
called
are they
the
about?
Book of Secrets. I have no idea what it's about.
God.
Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, is there a big old snake in there, or is there, no?
There could be.
No, I think that's right.
Is
Right,
that Chamber of Secrets?
Yeah.
Brad, you're the Harry Potter expert here.
My God. It's got the basilisk from Harry Potter and the Chamber of
Well,
Secrets.
actually,
Fucking Wingardium Leviosa. That's all I know.
Yeah.
That's the spell I
Lumos.
know. Whatever the fuck that means. That's where they make them float.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
all right.
Alrighty.
Well, you wanna jump in?
I had one more fun fact.
Oh, you did? Okay.
All right, fun
Let's
fact.
have it.
So $100 bills really used to say 222 on them, but in 2009 they changed it to 1030. No one knows why it was 222, unless I did a very poor job of researching.
It's
Have you
possible.
seen? There's so much weird, like little hidden stuff in money. You ever like taken a like one of the newer $100 bills that has that blue strip, and then you shine a light on it, like look at it through your phone.
Oh yeah.
You can see like a Liberty Bell thing in that blue strip and shit like that. I don't know. Why has our currency got all this? I guess it's just to make it harder to counterfeit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a lot of weird stuff when it comes to money. Oh, you shine it up to the light and you can see fucking Abraham Lincoln or something. It's weird.
I always thought the trick on the $20 bills where you fold it and it makes the twin towers.
Oh God. They it was an inside job.
Oh my god.
All right. So we start the movie out. We meet Benjamin Franklin Gates as a young boy,
His name is
treasure
Benjamin
hunter and
Franklin
historian.
Gates.
What's that?
Yeah.
His middle name was Franklin.
Yes.
They mentioned that in the movie. I didn't catch that
I
shit.
don't know, man. Just what I
Fuck.
researched.
All right.
When he was young, his grandpa told him that in 1832, Charles Carroll, last surviving signer of the Declaration of Independence, not really a part of the Masons, but associated with them, gave their ancestor a secret clue to a buried treasure hidden somewhere in the States, traveling all the way through ancient times, medieval knights, and the founding fathers. The clue reads, "The secret lies with Charlotte." Young Ben is convinced immediately, but his dad brushes it off as craziness. We fast forward. Ben and his computer expert pal Riley, dude from The Hangover, lead a search party financed by Ian, a wealthy version of Ned Stark. They are looking for Charlotte, a ship lost in the Arctic. They find it pretty fast, surprisingly, and discover a pipe. It reveals the next clue is on the Declaration. Ian suggests they steal it. Benjamin says no way. They have a standoff, and Ian and crew get away, and the ship blows up. And I wanted to,
Pretty
before
big explosion.
a huge explosion, but how? So he's like, "Oh yeah, well, you're gonna have to catch this flare," and he like totally catches it, and then something happens with the flare. I don't know what happens. It just like blows up in his hand.
A little tiny spark. Just that's all it takes. It's just a spark, I guess.
I mean, I guess, but like he was just like holding it just fine, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then it just blew up in his hand.
I did
But
think it
yeah,
was a good
anyway.
swerve of expectation when he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna see if your boy can catch," and he just Odell's that
He's
shit.
like,
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah,
We don't talk about Odell making good catches, all right?
no, yeah."
Yeah.
Look, really, he's burned all three of us. It's fine.
Yeah, they lost that game by 20 on that catch that they
Yeah,
had.
they sure did.
They report their findings to the FBI and the National Archives, but no one believes it. Ben decides to steal the Declaration before Ian does. They use Abigail, which is the lady they met up with at the National Archives. They use her fingerprints to break in, but are spotted by Ian as they remove the Declaration. Ben escapes through the gift shop, has to buy a copy of the Declaration because they are assuming that he's stealing it, but he really has the real one.
Yeah, that
Abigail
lady's like, "What you trying to do, steal?" And he's like, "Oh, no."
then he's got to pay $34 for a copy of the Declaration of Independence, which is absurd because
How much was
usually
yours?
That's where I was getting at. Because usually back in those days it would be cheaper and it'd be more expensive now. But in this case, I only bought mine for $14.
Oh, Bidenomics
Mm-hmm.
working out
They're working.
at every gift shop.
And what's cool about this thing, it's actually printed on old parchment paper. Pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Abigail confronts Ben and takes the document or declaration. Ian kidnaps her as she's getting ready to head back into the museum, but she has the fake all along. Ben and Riley save her by giving him, well, they let him believe that he has the real one, but he actually just has the fake. And then this is when the FBI start to track him.
Wait, is this not after like a big shootout and a car chase scene and all that other shit?
Well, I don't want to get into every single detail
Well, I'm
when
just
I'm
saying
describing
that's
the plot.
the action movie
But
details.
this is right where this part right here is where we can start talking about that stuff. I'm just getting the audience through the plot of the movie to remind them.
All right, action scene. Scenes multiple.
Mhm.
They're shooting at him. He's like Nicolas Cage has the fucking Declaration of Independence in his hands in the glass case thing. And they're
Mhm.
just like firing rounds at him and he's blocking bullets with it.
They casually shoot like 3 or 4 rounds into the glass, assuming that it's bulletproof.
Yeah, they could have fucked up the whole deal by just blowing holes through all the declaration.
I thought when they were going over it, they mentioned that it's bulletproof. So maybe
Well,
the
yeah,
bad
there
guys
is
knew
like
that
a
too.
they do go all
They're all
into this
smart.
into this like super
It,
high tech
it,
plan.
it's this like that whole sneaking in scene and like all the high tech nonsense that's going on. It like screams early 2000s to me. So
Oh yeah.
so loud.
Well, this movie is like a bunch of different shit all put together. It's like a Mission Impossible movie mixed with like a Indiana Jones mixed with, you
Yeah.
know, treasure hunt. I don't know. But I do like the contrast of Nicolas Cage's approach, Benjamin Gates. They're going to be clever and sneaky and, try to outwit everybody. And, even though by the way he like lifts the thumbprint to get into the whatever secure place, he takes it off a glass from the lady. And then Boromir over here is just like killing people and sawing through stuff. There was a one point where they're in like the tunnel sawing through some metal shit. I'm like, where the fuck did they get like a plasma cutter inside this tunnel to cut through all this metal like real fast? So he's got this like crash and like really rough approach, and Nicolas Cage has this like sneaky sly approach. And Nicolas Cage would have gotten it away with it too, wasn't it, for those meddling Boromirs or whatever. If it wasn't for that guy, Nicolas Cage would have been just out of there.
Man, we have no backstory for Ian at all either. Like, who is this guy? Is this some wealthy like crime lord or what?
Yeah.
What's
no,
his
he was like-
motivations?
He's
He's
like,
like-
Nicolas Cage's pal. Like
Yeah.
No, he hired Nicolas Cage.
Oh, did he? Fuck. I thought they were like adventurer look for clues.
Well, they
Yeah,
started.
I
Maybe
also thought that.
they became friends over the years, but he was originally hired by Ian.
Oh,
Okay. I must have
must
missed that one.
Yeah.
That's what I was reading.
Do you think I did have this question for you guys? Did you think that he did enough to convince the FBI and like the lady?
Abigail.
Like I feel like he could have, yeah, he could have left out like the sort of psycho stuff. I don't know. I feel like what do you guys think he did enough to convince them to actually look into it?
The lady's on board way too fast.
Now I'm
She's
talking like I agree she's on board real like way too fast, but I'm saying like when he's trying to do the right thing and convince like the FBI and that lady and they went somewhere else as well to try to prevent or get higher security.
Homeland
on the
Security,
declaration.
the FBI, and National Archives.
Yeah. So he was like going around to all of those, but do you think he did enough?
I mean, he did his due diligence at the very least. But I mean, it's just one of those things. How do you describe it to somebody? It's like if I told you I saw an alien outside my house right now, like how would I be able to describe that to you in a way that you would believe it?
What did he look like? Was he about 5'5"? Big sombrero?
It's-
All right.
Uh,
I thought you were talking about a different kind of alien. Shit.
um,
That was fucking funny. I don't give a shit. Um, but no, I think well the FBI guy has his little like Freemason ring thing on, right?
Yeah, we discovered that at the very end.
So he's like, he's kind of just along for the ride. He's like, hey man, you're in trouble unless you can get that Declaration of Independence back and find the treasure. I think that's like kind of how it rolls. It's like, yeah, if this goes badly, you're in some serious shit. But
Well,
if this
actually,
goes well, then we're all super happy or something. I don't know. I mean, that's how the movie plays out.
Ned Stark saves Benjamin later on from the FBI. He's the reason that he escapes.
When he jumps in the water, or
Yeah,
no? Is that
yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Declaration of Independence.
What?
Any thoughts?
I have no thoughts.
Well, I'm talking about the lady. Can we talk about the lady for a second? This lady's like, I take my job serious, and you can't be in here doing all this crazy shit. And then, like, 10 minutes later, she's like, oh, that Nicolas
Jeez.
Cage is, he's a charming fellow. Let's go on an adventure together. And then
Also,
she just
her,
won
her
over
plan
real
to
fast.
take the declaration and like run also was she like ran in his direction.
well,
You
she
know what I'm
didn't
saying?
know that he was a like even a thing until she was
No, I'm saying
in.
like when they stopped the van
Mm-hmm.
and they're like he's thinking and he's just pacing and then she's got the declaration and then she like tries to run away from him, but she like runs like past him in his line and he's just like, whoa, whoa, not having that. You know what I'm talking about? A
Yeah.
little silly.
Also, he also gets shot at immediately upon leaving the van. Very accurate shots.
Oh, another fun fact. I saw something about when they're doing the high speed chase and she's on the step van and Nicolas Cage is in the regular van and she's hanging around on the door. Like apparently Nicolas Cage and her were actually doing those stunts, which I think is
Oh,
kind of
really?
crazy.
That's pretty dope.
I mean, I'm not surprised Nicolas Cage is doing his own stunts, but I'm kind of surprised that that lady's doing her stunts because she's hanging around, she's flying around on a fucking door.
Diane Kruger, yeah, kind of a badass.
I bounce
Never
back
seen
and
her in
forth.
anything ever again.
Yeah, I
Nor
bounce
have I.
back and forth on whether or not I really even like Riley or Abigail as like sidekicks. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just here for
Riley's
Nicolas Cage and Sean Bean.
he's the little short guy, right?
He's
Yeah,
the comedic
Yeah,
relief.
he's the
if you want to call him that, sure.
yeah. He says little cute things every once in a while. It's just not really
Maybe
all that
that's why he
funny.
was left on the roof in Hangover.
Yeah, because he sucks.
Very true.
Leave it up to the like comedian. Zach Galifianakis really steals the show.
Hey, Ed Helms does a good job. Bradley Cooper.
Oh well, Ed Helms is pretty funny too. Bradley Cooper's not that funny. He's just the good-looking guy. I'm 6'4" and good looking.
He sure is.
That's all it is. He's that guy. Zach Galifianakis is like an actual comedian. Weird as fuck, by the way.
But
You'll have that.
hilarious.
No, he's funny.
Any more questions?
Nope,
Questions about
progress.
what? Yeah, we should just
Oh, no.
get through some of the like fuck.
Well, okay.
So we
So,
got through the Mission Impossible section.
yep.
Next section is like,
The Indiana Jones part.
yeah, we're getting more into the Indiana Jones.
So after they escape them, they go to Ben's dad's house to study the Declaration. They proceed to blow their bad breath at the back of the Declaration, revealing a book cipher in invisible ink.
I did have that thought when they go. They're both like what if one of them was like, "Oh fuck, what'd you eat?"
So they
All
try
of his
lemon
charm
juice.
goes away immediately. She's
Well,
like,
what?
ugh.
What if it's her? Nicholas
Or her,
Cage
yeah.
he would just like, if like an attractive lady has bad breath, you ain't gonna say shit. You're just gonna be like, yeah. What's the Declaration say? Fuck.
Uh,
So yeah,
Okay, but the bad bread. Fuck, sorry.
they turn the Declaration over. There's supposed to be something on the back. They use lemon juice, but it's not working, so they have to apply heat, and that's when they get down real low and just breathe in each other's mouths at it.
I thought it was funny. His dad's like, "What's that old piece of skin? Why don't y'all throw it in the oven?" Because they're like busting out the lemons and shit. He's like, "You need heat." So he knew what he was talking about. But he suggested throwing the Declaration into an oven, which is
He didn't
probably
know it was a
better.
declaration, but yes, he did.
Yeah. He finds out though.
But yeah, so it ends up revealing a book cipher in invisible ink, and they are to cipher a or decipher. Ah, I can't fucking talk.
Decipher.
Yes, they are to Benjamin Franklin's Silence Do-Good letters, which was Franklin's pen name to get published in his brother's newspaper because he could never get published under his own name. Ben's family used to own them, but donated them to the Franklin Institute. They use a kid, so they go to the Franklin Institute and they use a kid to go in and start counting the letters and figuring the things out and discover the next clue is at the bell tower at Independence Hall. They figure out the time difference with the daylight savings and all that stuff and find a pair of spectacles and a brick with multicolored lenses invented by Franklin. Turns out these spectacles reveal a hidden map on the back of the Declaration, pointing them to their next clue at Trinity Church in New York. But they are chased through Philly by Ian, and then Ben gets caught and arrested by the FBI. Riley and Abigail lose the Declaration to Ian in their own separate chase, and Abigail convinces Ian to help them set Ben free, which he does agree to help. And they set up a meeting with the FBI, and they use it as a chance to have Ben escape.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the ship that they had met on. It's the USS,
Oh, I don't know.
like Intrepid or something like that. It's probably completely wrong, but
I can't
but
remember
yeah.
what the boat was.
We got some cool action scenes running around in Philly.
Yeah, more cool action stuff, more historical landmarks like the Liberty Bell and the bell tower itself. How do you make a bell? I know this has nothing to do with the movie, but like, okay, so a bell is made out of like a shitload of metal, right? They're like really huge. But why'd the Liberty Bell just crack? What a piece of shit.
I feel like we
The
should
guy
all
who-
know the answer to that,
I don't know.
like
The
from
guy,
school, but we're truck drivers for a reason, by
Well,
God.
I don't think the Liberty Bell itself is like what it represents shitty. I'm just saying the guy who made it did a shitty job. Because there's another bell up there. Has that bell ever cracked?
I don't
There's
know.
no real reason as to why it cracked.
Maybe the guy that was pulling it, what's that Notre Dame guy who's like, he yanked on that shit too hard and broke the bell. That hunchback motherfucker. But no, this is like a part in the movie where he's like, "All right, FBI guy, I ain't got I ain't got it no more." And he's like, "Well, I'll make a deal with you. If you can get it back, then you won't go to prison as long or something." They had that conversation where he's like, "You're in a lot
You'll
of trouble.
feel a lot better morally,
Yeah, you'll feel
but you're
better,
still going to jail.
but you're still screwed." So he kind of makes a deal with the FBI, and then they help him out a little bit, but he also kind of escapes the FBI in his own way, right? When he jumps off into the Hudson, and they're like, "We
When
can't
they-
see shit. The Hudson's all polluted and gross."
Yeah, that was a really good escape plan that he got.
Yeah.
It's escape. Stupid.
That's one thing about Nicolas Cage is that he's always one step ahead of everybody
Yeah.
else.
And
I-
really
I-
white teeth.
I wanted to bring up
Yeah.
the little plot convenience with the kid scene. He just like
Oh.
happens to bump shoulders with Ian, and then only seeing him come back in one other time. Like it didn't seem like. I mean, I know that dude's smart, but it's like he could have been doing anything, and he's just like, oh, that kid's working with Nicolas Cage character guy, Benjamin Franklin Gates. Oh no, I feel like he just jumped on that real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I feel like
I mean,
he would have messed up a lot more too,
Yeah.
like the little kid.
oh, the kid. Well, no, that
Yeah,
kid's super smart. You know.
I mean,
He was
perhaps.
doing that for $1.
Yeah,
I'd
he
be
did it for
like, let's
$1.
negotiate a little bit. One
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah. If he was smarter, he'd be like, "Yo, I'm gonna need a couple Benjamins for this. I think I do. You think I work for free?"
See where we're at. I'm like, yeah.
But Riley ends up finding out the whole thing, except for he's missing one word. And that's when he figures it out.
No.
Conveniently enough for the plot, because that's when Ian walks out and starts scratching his head. It's like, oh, where'd he go?
I'm
But
just
we
saying he
know
like
where he went.
assumed that kid was working with them way too quickly.
Maybe he just has a
It's a good
keen
point.
sense.
I mean, he's big smart, but still, just thought that was odd.
Yeah, it's just
Also, who
convenient.
was that kid there with?
He looked like he's in a school uniform or something. Maybe he's school. Apparently, Matthew had a school trip to the DC.
I sure
But
did.
I'm sure you got
This
chaperones that are
school.
keeping an eye on you and
No, they let us run
crossing
around.
crossing the street and talking to some weird guy scratching stuff on a newspaper.
I talked to many strangers.
Well, maybe that kid is
Oh,
undercover.
One of the strangers I met was Randy Couture, just walking around the Smithsonian.
That is
Pretty cool.
that is such a weird guy to
I
meet.
also had dinner with the lady that voices Peggy Hill on King of the Hill
But
in
dad.
Chinatown because our chaperones knew her somehow. I think her name's Kathy Najimy,
that's
something
pretty
along those
dope.
lines.
All right. Anyway,
That's
National
pretty dope.
Treasure.
But I was going to say they have a really cool little rooftop. They had to throw in a rooftop uh, scene like they do in the Skyfall. Pretty neat. Nicolas Cage out here running around, dodging bullets in a graveyard and then jumping up on roofs and just really getting it done.
There's a couple times where I'm like, they should have shot him.
Yeah.
Well,
Like I'm
my
like,
thing.
he's not that far away.
Well, we have
Just
to get
like
into the
plant your
the
feet.
the next chunk, the next third of the movie,
The
where
final, yes.
Ian and Nicolas Cage are like kind of working together and like getting along, and it's almost like they're like having a good time discovering a couple new things together. And in the meantime, Nicolas Cage is like, "Oh, I'm gonna pull a fast one on him and lead him in the wrong direction," because his dad's like, you know, or whatever. I forget what he was referencing, but
Well,
he's
here,
like,
I'll
"Yeah,
get to it
okay." Well, I'm just,
right
I'm
here.
just, I was gonna say there's some weirdness about him. Like, why is he getting along with him so bad or so good? Because they were trying to kill him.
I think it's just his demeanor, just the way
They were
that he
trying
is.
to like Nicolas Cage is like, "Oh right, we're discovering shit. It's cool, right?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna disregard the fact that you've been shooting at me this entire movie and trying to kill me and whoever my friend
Well,
and
they
everything."
make a deal,
Yeah,
but once they meet up again, Ian gives Ben the declaration back, but has his dad held hostage as collateral. They go to the Trinity Church, and after some spooky platforming down this spiral staircase that's fallen all to pieces, and some elevators and what you have it.
dude, I couldn't walk down that shit. Some
Yeah, no,
creaky,
me either.
rickety metal or not metal, wooden shit. I'd just
That
be
one
like,
dude
nope.
falls right away.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He's a dick.
So after some spooky platforming, they find an underground passage with a single lantern to be lit. It appears to be a dead end, and then Ben's dad says it's a reference to Paul Revere and his midnight ride in the old North Church in Boston. Something about one lantern and all this and all that. And
Yeah.
Abigail's like, wait, wasn't there two lanterns? He's like, yeah, but he didn't know any better, which is weird because this guy knows he's really smart. So I figured he would be able to
Well,
smell that one, but
he miscounted the amount of lanterns.
he sure did.
That's his fault. Should have known.
So at this point, Ian's like, aha, I got the final clue. So I'm going to leave you here. Ian leaves them all behind and heads to Boston. Turns out it was all a fake clue to get rid of Ian. They find a hole that the pipe from the Charlotte fits perfectly, which so when they get in this room, he's all disappointed and stuff. Like normally he's out there looking around at all the walls and everything. He just gets in there and immediately gives up. which I found odd because that doesn't fit his character at all, at least to me. If he just simply would have looked a little more ahead, he would have noticed the pipe engraving.
The
But
fucking
anyway,
the pipe Indiana Jones shit. I was like, by the time we got to that point in this movie, I was like, ugh, this movie is made for 10-year-olds.
but he uses the pipe to open the door, revealing the treasure in the staircase to the ground level outside on the other side. And he does. That's really still a cool scene to me now when he lights, like they have this big room of treasure, but then he lights the fire and it's like a massive room of treasure.
Yeah.
Still thought that was pretty cool. Still kind of, worked today.
One thing that annoys me, so they're in this like vault, whatever, going down, and they're just grabbing these torches that are like 200 years old, and they're just like, "Oh, torch works good. This unlimited fuel torch that's 200 years old just works perfectly fine." Torches in movies piss me off. They always work. They're like, "Here, let's wrap your sock on this piece of wood, and then we'll dip it in something, and then you have this unlimited torch." I just think it's stupid. I don't know. But yeah, he takes his
Plot
200-year-old
convenience.
torch and he puts it in that. What does he put it into? Because whatever he puts it into, it lights up the whole place. I was confused by
Just
what
like
he.
a trench of like a trench for fire to be had in.
I know, but what is it?
I don't
It's
know.
just magic light source. Woof. And then the whole place is like, oh, and then you see all the all the treasure.
I mean, I don't know anything about anything, but what flammable source could stay flammable? Like, would gunpowder be
No,
like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like,
gunpowder go. Woof.
yeah, that would blow up. But I'm saying, like, what could work in that way?
You'd
Being
have to.
probably, I assume it's super damp down there too.
I
You
don't
know
know.
what I'm saying? Just in general.
After 200 years, nothing would work, I think.
Yeah. So when I was watching that, I was like, that is a bit silly.
I think like torches usually, if you got like a tiki torch or something, it's like a rope and then kerosene because kerosene burns kind of slow, but it would have all evaporated. I don't know. Stupid. We're focusing on the wrong shit. Let's work the fucking movie magic of National Treasure with all the treasure that they found.
So much treasure.
So after they find the treasure, Ben meets with the FBI to give them back the Declaration of Independence. Ben tries to make a deal to get charges dropped for all of them in exchange for giving the treasure to the world's museums and credit to the Gates family for finding it. And this is when he's like, "Well, somebody's got to go to prison, Ben." He's like, "Well, I know just the guy." And then he gives up Ian's location. They find him
Boromir.
and arrest him. And then we cut to the end where Ben and Abigail hook up, and we find out Ben turned down 10% finder's fee for the treasure and instead took 1%, which is
Fuck that.
probably still an absurd amount of money. And
I think
it's
it's like
indicated
100
by their
million
house and the car.
thing.
I'd be like, I need 100%. What the fuck you talking about? 10. I'd want way more money.
I think it was
Just
100
found,
million or something like that. Maybe I
I'm
got that
like,
wrong.
I just found all these secret treasures, that the world has been searching for hundreds of years. Be like, yeah, I'm the
It wouldn't fit
new.
his character to be greedy.
Well, I'm Nicolas Cage, and so if it was me in the movie, if I was the character,
Yeah, what would
be like,
happen if it were you?
give me a fuckload more money.
That's 100 million, all
100.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be like, yeah, I want a little bit more credit, and then I'd be doing all kind of, you know, because after you find the national treasure, all your treasure hunting days, what are you gonna do?
There's got to be more treasure out there.
Well, I'd want enough money and resources to be able to find all the treasure I want. So give me like fucking
And 100 million ain't, ain't
no,
enough.
100 million ain't shit in today's economy. That's like a 3-bedroom apartment. Fuck that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But I wanted to ask you guys, does any of this American history interest you in any way?
What the
Just
fake,
any of it.
the
Just the
fake treasury
Declaration of
stuff?
Independence
Oh
and
no. Oh, that is super interesting.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I went down like a rabbit hole with this stuff, and plus, I was in DC, so I was really heavily just.
Yeah, you
I
were
We
was
did
immersed.
guided tours and everything, so I found out a lot of interesting things, and I was really into it this week.
I usually fall on the anytime we do like a war thing, I fall into that trap, and I was intentionally not clicking into anything other than this movie because I knew I'd just spiral.
I think all
But
the
yes, it's interesting.
architecture, like the architecture and stuff in DC, I think all that shit is really awesome to look at. I know that's not history, but I mean, a lot of those buildings are really old, but I think the architecture is really cool. And if you go to like any capital of any state, there's always like really cool architecture, like a lot of pillars, a lot of like I don't know what the material is like, but you know what I mean, like the big like granite looking. I don't know, is it granite? I don't know what the material is, but you know what I mean, like
Granite,
a bunch of
marble, maybe.
yeah, marble pillars, statues, all that stuff. I think that shit always looks really cool.
So I was inside the Capitol building doing a tour, and I we were standing underneath the big dome on top, and
That
that
building
thing
is
is
awesome.
it is awesome. And they said that they could take the Statue of Liberty and put it in there, and it still wouldn't. It'd have another 30 feet to go to touch the top of that dome,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's well no. It's like the only dome structure uh in DC, right? That's the only one that has a dome.
No, Thomas Jefferson Memorial has a dome.
Does it have a dome? Well, it's a
Hmm.
bigger dome. I got a pretty big dome, tell you
Good one.
that. Either way, talk about this movie though. I think this movie is a good movie,
Is this
but
super awesome ratings time?
sure.
All
Well, I
right,
wasn't
let's
gonna
hear
go
it.
into no. Okay, super awesome ratings. I'll fucking start off the super awesome ratings for super awesome National Treasure with super awesome Nicolas Cage, and I don't know any of the other fucking characters' names, but or that's not even his character's name. But super awesomes. I think this movie is good. Uh, you got the dynamic of Benjamin and Ian, and they're like whole back and forth, and how they're kind of after the same. They're obviously after the same thing, but for with different motives. I think a lot of the action is really good. I think it's cast well. It's obviously shot well. Um, I just think it's a little bit goofy, and it's more fun when you're like 10 years old. So on the super awesome ratings on super awesome scale, I'd give it like in 7.8. As an adult, that's my adult rating. My kid rating is like 8.5.
Oh,
Because I think it's
shit.
really if you're like 10 years old, this movie's sweet. You're like, oh my God, action and adventure and mystery
In history.
and history. Oh my God. It's got a whole package right there. But no, as an adult, you're like, yeah, I think this movie's not aimed at my 30-year-old demographic. But yeah,
Let's do that.
I give it almost 8. 7.8. Super awesome. On the super awesome scale. Of super awesome.
I can go now. Yeah, next. Um, I don't have much to say. This is a movie, very much a movie. I think the Bates Ian chess game, cat and mouse, whatever, that's fun. But I agree, the plot is silly. The execution is silly. It's very much a product of its time. It feels like it is not a bad movie, but it's like a bad Indiana Jones movie to me.
Yeah.
Like it's this like science guy chasing after, I guess he's not necessarily a science guy, but just smart guy, smart, witty dude chasing after some MacGuffin. Um, I just this movie didn't really do much for me. I give it a 6.5 out of 10 on the super awesome scale. Call me a hater.
Took me 2 nights to watch it. I had to fucking
I had to rewind the beginning because it did not suck me in. I was just like, I feel like I was zoning out. So,
All right, so my super awesome rating on the
I give it a 9.9.
super awesome scale on the super awesome podcast for super awesome National Treasure movie. Um, so I don't think the plot's horrible. I think the things they came up with to tie things together were interesting enough to keep me going. Love this movie as a kid. Didn't quite love it as much as an adult, but again, I'm also kind of coming down from the high of going to DC and a little more, I don't know, invested in what was going on because it was cool to see them like in the places that I was just in and stuff like that. Uh, love Sean Bean. Always appreciate anything he's in for the most part. Nicolas Cage is great. His super white pearly teeth. Don't care about Abigail and Riley too much, but it was a fun watch. I'm gonna give it a super awesome 7.8 out of 10 as well.
That's what I said.
I
So
know.
did you guys watch this when you were kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think
A
I
ton.
saw this until like 2009. So I was already like
No, I think my
my
parents like
age
own
demographic.
this movie. You know what I mean?
We did not.
Yeah,
I
because
saw
your
it a ton
parents
as
are
a
like,
kid.
"Oh, here you go, 8-year-old little Ost. Why don't you watch Demolition Man
No,
with your brother?"
I watched Terminator 2 when I was like 5 or 6, and they were just it's part where he's getting or she's getting all exploded in her dream. That was the only part that they were like, "Hey,
What, where
don't
the
watch
atomic
this
bomb
scene."
goes off and she's like,
Yeah, she's yeah,
she turns into a skeleton.
exactly that. But yeah, it was just so close your eyes during that part. Forget all about the like stabby things that happen in that movie.
Dude, I remember the first time I watched. I was like watching it by myself. I don't know why. I was pretty young, and I was watching Terminator, the first Terminator. That was the first fuck scene I saw. Scene I
Let's
saw.
go.
I saw the scene I saw with the fucking fuck scene in Terminator.
That might be one of the first ones I saw too.
And you see Sarah Connor's tits. I was like, I fucking had like a heart attack.
um,
But I don't know how old I was.
Final thoughts for everybody on this movie.
Final thoughts. The movie's good, but it's more geared for children, I think. So,
I agree.
and also it's one of it's right before Nicolas Cage fucking downfall. Before he
Goes
was
off
in
the
a
rails.
million just shitty movies.
Um, to tie the Indiana Jones thing together for me, I put that the you mentioned it earlier, the FBI guy, he's got the
He's got like the Freemasons thing or whatever the fuck that is.
yeah, it kind of reminded me. You guys have seen The Last Crusade, right?
I have not.
Probably not.
Well, there's a spoilers. There's an old knight guarding the Holy Grail.
Wait, you talking about Indiana Jones?
Yeah. I'm saying
Oh,
this is,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah.
I've
tying
seen
it.
it.
Last Crusade.
Yes.
Okay, that's the third one, right?
Yeah.
I've
So
only seen that one once.
I was just gonna say that guy being a part of this, like I don't know, him wearing the ring made it seem like he was a part of the group, like protecting the shit. You know what I mean? Or at least like
Yeah.
part of something to protect it. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit. That was all. It was more ties to Indiana Jones that I had.
Well, no, Indiana Jones, when he fucking takes the pipe that they didn't even smoke out of, but they take the pipe and they stick it in the circle thing and spin it around on the wall. I was like, yeah, it's just Indiana Jones right here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, final thoughts. Again, uh, it's one of those movies that I can rewatch again and still enjoy it, but I would still probably classify it under as one of those movies that you can just slap on and just be cleaning the house too.
Sure. I don't do that. I'm always
Well,
listening to stand up.
Yeah, I'm usually listening to like a podcast, a super awesome podcast.
Yeah, if you want to clean your house and you have nothing else to listen to, you should check out the super awesome podcast.
Yeah, you can even tune us out every now and again and probably not miss much.
Yeah, anything I say, you probably don't really need to pay attention to, unless you want to laugh.
And we don't.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this episode of the Super Awesome Podcast. Pretty please give us a like, a share with your friends if you find this entertaining at all, because we're trying to grow the thing. So that would be
Let them know.
Leave a comment if anything you would want to listen to us bullshit about. 5-star reviews are cool. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. If I didn't say that, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Super Awesome Podcast, Super Awesome Pod. Next week we're reinventing the wheel, and we're gonna talk about that and decide what we're gonna do. And
So we
that's
have
for us.
no
That's for
idea.
us to know, and for you guys to find out.
We have no idea, neither do you, what we're going to do next week.
Never let them know your next move.
Stay tuned.
Oh, also, Super Awesome Podcast. If you're a listener of the Super Awesome Podcast and you want to check out some old shit on YouTube, check out Full Time Stupid. You want to see any of those fucking stupid ass videos? It's a lot of me, a little bit, none of Matthew because he didn't fucking participate. But yeah, check that
I
out.
wasn't
too.
invited.
The fuck? You probably were. You probably like, oh no, I ain't going.
You get a little taste of Butters in there, which we hopefully will
Oh,
have
yeah,
as a
Butters.
guest. But we need
Yeah,
to
we need
discuss how we're
Butters as
going to
a
do that.
guest. I don't know. Check out Full Time Stupid. You don't have to. I don't give a shit. But yeah, if you want to look up some other stuff,
Old content
some old
archives.
shit. Yeah, 2-3
All right.
years old.
Well, that's going to do it.
All
Bye.
right.
Wave.
You have to wave. Why are you waving like a bitch? Okay. Spirit fingers having or some shit.